4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Infrastructure and Economic Development Committee meeting for April 27th. The voting members of this committee here today are myself, Councillor Thiessen, and Mayor Clayton. And first up, we've got a downtown rehabilitation update. That's a standing item, and that was with Mr. Hoyen.
Good day, Chairman, Mayor, Councillors, and committee members. Temporary water installation is continuing in the lanes in the downtown rehabilitation project area. This is a major step in enabling the start of construction on May 3. Temporary traffic signals have been installed at the intersection of 100th Street and 102nd Avenue and 102 Street and 102nd Avenue, basically the top of Muskosipi Park entrance, to assist in the movement of vehicular traffic during the detours for the downtown rehabilitation project. These traffic signals should become operational later this week. Variable message boards have been placed on the 4 main roadways leading into the central business district, advising of the upcoming construction. These message boards will change. At this point, it's only advising of the construction, but later this week, it will start advising of the 100th Street closure. Yesterday, our team released a major media release advising of the upcoming construction to all the media. Radio ads also started on Monday. Social media advertising will begin on May 3rd. We have been in consultation with Grande Prairie Transit to ensure they have all their routes affected by the construction rerouted. We will be meeting with the Downtown Association this week to keep them up to date prior to construction starting next week. The downtown public parking map has been completed and has been posted to the Downtown Rehabilitation website. City of Grande Prairie, our downtown. Included on the public parking will be 6 stalls procured in the City on 99 parking area, as well as 2 handicap stalls in City and on 99 as well. The detour map has been completed and also has been uploaded to our downtown rehabilitation website, showing the detours around the construction zone. I have been advising the downtown core of the city businesses of Grande Prairie, the grant programs, as well as the Grande Prairie Chamber of Commerce in coordination with the City of Grande Prairie webinar series. It was called We Are Open for Business, and to make sure everyone knows. But I just got notified yesterday that it has been postponed due to businesses not being open. 28 businesses applied for our downtown rehabilitation incentive for advertising A-board signs. These A-board signs have arrived, and I'm distributing them to the businesses that requested them. And we are now 6 days away from the start of construction. And that's basically my report today. Any questions?
Great, thank you. Any questions? Awesome. Well, I'm not seeing any, so we'll let you off the hook easy this time, as I'm sure when that street opens up, there'll be some.
I thought you guys would just be brimming with questions.
That's not until it starts happening. Any construction project this big has those hiccups. There we go. Councillor Thiessen and Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you, Chair Bressi. Thank you, Monty, for this update. You know what? Honestly, my friend, I see a lot of you between being on the Downtown Association board and their subcommittees to this committee to, yeah, I don't know. I appreciate your updates, and thanks for the chuckle today about the businesses saying we're open but not being open. So we had to put that down. I thought that was a bit of an ironic twist to the update.
Yeah, it was kind of an ironic twist. I had signed up for it myself. I thought better see what it looks like. And I just got the note that they had been postponed.
So just a question in regards to those postponements of the openings. That's due to COVID, I guess, and our restrictions, or
I'm guessing that's it.
Okay.
This just came from the Chamber of Commerce saying that it was postponed.
All right. Well, that's unfortunate. I'd like to see our businesses, especially in the core, having some people walk into it, but totally understandable considering the times. So I'm just going to say thanks for the laugh and thanks for all your hard work today and throughout the weeks and months and years that you've been doing this for. Appreciate it.
Councillor O'Toole, did you have something?
Yeah, just a comment. this is just the calm before the storm, letting you know that. But I do appreciate the signage that's available, that's out there. I've noticed it, and it doesn't matter which area of town I'm entering. When I get to the downtown, there's signage. That's good on you for making that happen, for sure. And as well, I have talked to a few businesses, and of course, some of them are looking forward to it, and some aren't. But in the end, this is going to be a good thing for downtown. It's going to be a good thing for Grande Prairie. So we're going to have to, like they say, you have to get put up with the rain if you want green grass. And I think this is where that saying comes in. So thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Kevin.
Great. Any other questions or comments? Awesome. Well, thanks for your work shepherding the startup going so well. I think it's remarkable that we haven't been hearing I think this time going into construction, downtown businesses, iPhone and email was blowing up, and it's definitely not right now. So I think that says a lot about the more proactive response we've got. So thank you. We appreciate it.
Thanks very much, and I'll let you, Brian, have at it. Bye-bye.
Great. Well, that does bring us to Director Glavin for his service area report.
Thank you, Chair Bressi. We'll start off in economic development. For economic recovery grants, to date, we've approved 34 local marketing grants, 9 beautification and patio grants, as well as 3 training grants. The review committee is meeting again this week and has an additional 7 applications. Our economic development advisory committee met last week to review the downtown incentive program and the health sector development strategy. And one thing that was on our outstanding items list that I'll touch on again later that didn't make it on was that incentive program, and that's because the advisory committee wanted to take a little bit more time to review that and had some more suggestions. So that hopefully will be on the next agenda. In energy and environment, the Eastlink Center CHP unit is fully commissioned on site and is operational. Currently, it has reduced the electricity draw from 600 amps to 200 amps, as well as the heating elements are producing all of the heat necessary to heat the water, and currently our boiler units in place are not having to work at all. So it's doing exactly what we had hoped. For GP Grows, it's fully subscribed for Friday distribution, and there are currently 100 spots left for Saturday. So anybody out there that's interested, sign up right away before those spots are gone. And we had 1,500 available, so there's been lots of uptake. Our Earth Day scavenger hunt had 535 participants, and City Scrub currently has 144 family units and 23 schools registered. For engineering services, we've recently posted bridge repairs and other bridge-related work tender, as well as the catch-basin and manhole repair tender for the Swanhaven neighborhood. Recently closed procurements are the intersection improvement program along 92nd Street, as well as the corner of 108th Street and 84th Avenue. In addition, the Smith Subdivision Road Project tender just closed, so that'll be the road and servicing adjacent to the recreation center, as well as the Bear Creek outfall and repair tender that has a number of locations along Bear Creek. Some additional ones that are coming, actually no additional ones that are coming, just as for awareness, we awarded projects are shown on the upcoming work tab in the traffic planner, and communications is currently working on a separate communications piece that's a little bit more timely and easy to understand for the general public for some of the more critical road projects. In planning and development, we've currently issued 12 temporary patio permits. Most of them we've been able to put out within hours of receiving them. And we have 10 additional ones in the in process right now to get them out. As well as the downtown project, one thing Monty wouldn't have been aware of, but we did lease the former community garden site on the corner of 98th Street and 100th Avenue to Canelson that they're going to use as a bit of a staging area for equipment and supplies for phase 4. So you're going to see some gravel on that site. However, it will be reclaimed after that and put back to grass, and they'll have that done next year. So if you see some activity on the site, that's what's going on there. With that, they'll also be ensuring that they clean up any gravel or mud or anything else that comes out of that site onto the roadway, and that's worked into the lease agreement. For transportation, We're doing a comprehensive cleanup of downtown on May 5th. So we're going to go all the back alleyways. We're going to have our summer staff go in and make sure that we have everything looking nice, swept up properly, and any minor repairs that we can do to the road or the alleys back there, we're going to make sure that that gets done with transportation as well. And that's my report.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions for Director Glavin? Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you very much, Chair Bressi. Thanks for the update, Director Glavin. Just a quick question on the combined heat power unit out at the Eastlink Centre. So council has been getting a couple of emails, phone calls in regards to some of the noise that is going on there. Now, I just wanted to know if you could update the committee and perhaps the public, whoever may be watching, on sort of the mitigation that we've done on that sound, and if there's any potential like enclosures that might need to be undertaken on that unit.
Sure, thanks, Chair Bressi. So currently the CHP unit is operating at a decibel level slightly higher than what it was designed to do. And there's a bit of a pitch to the sound. And so right now we are working with the provider of the CHP units to see what can be done to mitigate that through the actual CHP units. And as well, we're also looking at options for sound attenuation, whether that's some sort of a wall with proper sound deadening material or something to deflect the sound away from any of the adjacent landowners.
Just to follow up, as far as these fixes, what would be the timeline on those, at least for the residents, that we may be looking at short-term and long-term?
Yeah, right now, to give a absolute firm deadline is not possible currently, but I think we're talking weeks.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Great. Councillor O'Toole.
Yes, I drove by there and talked to one of the persons of concern with the noise, and I'm thinking that somebody went in there yesterday afternoon and did some adjustments, because you could hear something running, but it wasn't the high-pitched whistling that the complaint was at the beginning. But I did talk to him, and he's very thankful that we're looking into this and taking it very serious. So just a heads up, so take it for what it's worth. He seems to be in a happy mood now, but with the intent that we're going to do something about it.
I see Ms. Gardner, who I know has been working on this. Are you hoping to, do you have some information for us for this?
Yes, Chair Bressi, I just wanted to let you know that Flex Energy was on site yesterday doing a sound study and trying to see why it's a little bit like in our studies, why it was showing a little higher than what they had suggested it would. So we're meeting with them again tomorrow morning to understand what kind of recommendations they may have or what they've been able to sort of tweak.
Great, thank you. Any other questions about this or anything else for Director Glavin? Great, well, thank you, Director Glavin. I appreciate your work and I appreciate the report on what's going on. And that brings us, speaking of energy things, that brings us to Ms. Gardner for a report on a Grande Prairie energy strategy.
Thank you, Chair Bressi. In 2011, the Council directed administration to develop and implement the Partners for Climate Protection Program, or PCP, within our environmental department. In 2014, Council adopted a greenhouse gas emission reduction target for the organization. And in 2017, a community greenhouse gas emission reduction target was set as well. These targets achieved milestone 2 of the PCP program. One of the primary means to reduce GHG emissions is to reduce the consumption of energy. And additionally, reducing the energy consumption influences costs associated with purchasing electricity, natural gas, and transportation fuels. This strategy has been developed with both internal and external engagement. Many of the suggestions provided within the document have come from either residents or staff within the organization. The energy strategy looks forward at the next 10 years and meets the requirement for milestone 3 of the PCP program. Many of FCM's green municipal funds opportunities require an approved energy or emissions reduction strategy as part of their qualifications to apply. So we can't even apply until we have this kind of a document. This plan moves us closer towards the target of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 20%. The strategy is broken into 3 pillars. Energy generation. Work on this pillar is underway through the economic development and the Hughes Lake Energy Strategy that Council approved last week. Community energy, and then corporate energy. It is in alignment with policies 116, which is the climate change policy, and 215, the environmental responsibility policy. The strategy has identified potential programs or projects that can be implemented that focus on increasing energy efficiency and decreasing greenhouse gas emissions. These are programs such as the Clean Energy Improvement Program, which was also known as PACE, and they have the potential to increase opportunities for local contractors or service providers within the area. Many of the corporate strategies identified will aid in reducing expected carbon pricing, that is increasing annually at a rate of $15 a ton right now, to a maximum of $170 a ton in 2030. That is a significant risk for the organization, as that will affect natural gas, electricity, and any fuels that we have. So something to keep in mind. Let me see where we're at. To sort of round it out, 2011, there was a commitment to the PCP program. In 2014 and 2017. Reduction targets were set, which completed milestone 2. Implementation of some or all of the recommendations will work towards reducing expenses and GHG emissions. Administration is recommending that committee recommend council adopt the Grande Prairie Energy Strategy as presented. And I can take any questions.
Great, thank you. Any questions? A question I've got is there are a few budgets in here. If council approves this, if council approves the strategy, what's the intention with those? Would those be built into the capital considerations when it comes to council this fall? Would those be aspirational? Maybe they happen in the future. Just where's the money? What actually happens to money if this gets approved?
So Chair Bressi, the budget that's presented inside that document is it's a generalization of what we expect these kinds of projects or programs would cost to implement. Again, it's a 10-year strategy, so some might come forward within the next capital budget cycle, so over the next 4 years. One is the Clean Energy Improvement Program. So in theory, Council approved that expenditure in the 2022 and 23 and 24 budget. It's already in there, but that's up for approval in this fall. So that's why we've included it. Some of it's already been funded. EV charging stations downtown, they're already going to be installed as part of the downtown enhancement program this summer.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Is anybody willing to make a motion? I see Councillor Friesen.
No, sorry, no.
Okay. Yeah, Councillor
Bressi. Yeah, thank you. I'll make the motion as presented. Just to comment to this, I really appreciate all the work that administration has put into maintaining our 2011 goals as far as combating climate change and reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. We've made several investments across the city, from our transit to our combined heat and power to even the solar project on top of City Hall. So those are just 3 examples of the many ways that we've been working towards this ultimate goal. And I'm fully in support of this and hope council will endorse it. So I will make the motion as presented. Thank you.
Great. Any conversation or debate? In that case, I will call it to question. Oh, my apologies. I've got the I'm using the website for my agenda, and I realize that in eScribe I've got the wrong meeting open. There we go. Now I can vote. And that motion carries. And with that, I will go on to item 6.1, which is review of policies, and that's Ms. Gardner again.
Thank you, Chair Bressi. The first policy I'll talk about is policy 113, which is the idle reduction policy. This was first approved in 2011 and then revised in 2013. The review is being conducted in alignment with policy 124, which requires all policies to be reviewed every 4 years. There was internal stakeholder engagement, which occurred with fleet inspection services, HR, transit enforcement services, and transportation and parks. These are primary users of most of our equipment. Amendments are a result of that consultation. We increased the idling time to 5 minutes. We excluded diesel-powered equipment, trucks, and transit buses based on the fleet manager's request on the lifespan of equipment. And then we had additional housekeeping items. In policy 215 and 216, conducting that review, it was first approved in 2016. When we were conducting this review, administration is recommending that components of policy 216 be added to policy number 215, which allows for the repeal of 216. And the reason for that is that policy 216 was about implementing an environmental management system, which has been done and is being monitored, and there's ongoing improvements to that system as we speak. The amendments to 215 include this inclusion of the environmental management system. We included community groups or tenants as stakeholders, and that's primarily to do with lease agreements or contracts to ensure that they're operating our facilities and keeping environmental responsibility in as part of their operations. And then we had housekeeping edits. Administration is recommending that committee recommend council first approve the revisions to policy 113, the idle reduction. Second, approve the revisions to policy 215, environmental responsibility. And 3, repeal policy 216, the environmental risk management policy. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Is anybody willing to make a motion? Mayor Clayton.
I'm not for the motion, just a question. I'm just trying to clarify on policy 113. In the summary of amendments, it talks about excluding diesel-powered equipment, trucks, and transit buses. And then when I go to page 2 of the policy, diesel-powered heavy equipment, trucks, and buses are there. So they're not excluded from the policy, are they? I'm confused, sorry. Just some clarification, please, Ms. Gardner.
Yes, so are you, Chair Bressi, are we talking about the first paragraph on page 2 where it says all emergency vehicles? So what that does is that is an exception. That paragraph is all the exceptions to the policy, which includes the diesel-powered heavy equipment, trucks, and buses.
So they're not excluded?
Yes, so they are excluded. They're exempted from following the policy.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Perfect.
Any other questions?
I have one question, Chair Bressi.
Please.
Ms. Gardner, just in regards to what Mayor Clayton was requesting, I didn't have any questions for this policy, but it just made me think, like, on average, like, we made a good investment into our solar-powered bus fleet. Of those solar-powered vehicles, I've had many conversations with people in the community asking if they still run on diesel, and I said yes, there are times that they do run on diesel. And that's sort of required because, you know, just in case. How much of diesel consumption are transit buses utilizing in comparison to what they used to?
So, Chair Bressi, our electric vehicles or electric buses, 2 of the buses, the first 2 buses are totally electric. They do not run on any fuels at all. They are totally electric buses at this we are looking to purchase heaters when what the diesel would do is operate the heaters. So the additional 3 buses, they have diesel fuel, and that is just required to provide heating. So they only are operational in the winter time, basically October through maybe beginning of April, and that's the only time. As far as the quantities of diesel, I'm not aware of the number. I do know that the rough cost of operating a diesel bus, so your normal transit bus, is about $1.25 a kilometer, and the electric buses are about $1 a kilometer. So they do cost us less money to operate, but again, I don't have the actual fuel consumption numbers with me. I can provide that if you'd like.
No, actually, I was just looking for a bit of education on myself because I always found myself going, well, I think you're right, and I think I remember this. So knowing that the diesel that's operating inside of our electric buses is largely just to keep the buses warm rather than to run and operate them, that's a great piece of information that I have that I get asked all the time about our electric fleet. So, and I probably should have asked earlier than this. So thank you very much for that, Ms. Gardner. With that, I'd be prepared to make the motion if there are no further questions, Chair Bressi.
Great. Yeah, why don't you make the motion, at least it's on the table then. If people have questions, I'm still happy to entertain them.
Okay, so I'm just going to make the motion as one full motion. If anybody wants to split this off, that's fair by me, but I'd move that committee recommend Council 1, approve the revisions to Policy 113, idle reduction, 2, approve the revisions to Policy 215, environmental responsibility, and 3, repeal Policy 216, the environmental risk management.
Great. Any further questions or any discussion we need to have about this? In that case, I will call this to question. And that motion carries, so this will be coming to Council next Monday. Thanks again for your work on this, Ms. Gardner. It's appreciated.
Thank you.
And with that, we will move on to the outstanding items list with Director Glavin.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair Bressi. We just have the one item, as I touched on in the Director's update. The Economic Incentive Program has been delayed, likely to next meeting, just for some additional revisions and engagement with the Economic Development Advisory Committee.
One item, I feel like a failure as a chair.
Definitely not Chair O'Toole.
Yeah, I'll leave it up to interpretation which way I feel like I'm a failure. Mayor Clayton.
I was just going to say, let's not be measured by the lack of work we're doing, but by the work we're doing.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Is there anybody that's willing to move to accept this?
I'd be willing to open the door for Madam Mayor Clayton to get on the board here today.
Since I did one entire meeting, that's okay.
Yeah, you did.
I would move that we accept the outstanding items list as presented. Thank you.
Great. And as Mayor Clayton gets the scoreboard, I just remind us we want to measure each other by the work we're doing, not the amount of work we're doing. I will call that to question.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen. I think that was a direct quote from Mayor Clayton. That's how wise she is.
Sounded wise.
So wise.
Sorry, I'll vote in favor. I'm having a technical difficulty with e-scribe, so I'm in favor.
And with that, that motion carries, and I will call this meeting adjourned. And it's a rare time that we're running ahead of schedule. I think that we've got a 15-minute break now to the next one, if I'm understanding right.
Perfect. Thank you, Chair Bressi. Thank you, Director Glavin.
Great. Thank you, everyone.